Hello, I'm Yutaka Watanabe, a tax accountant. This is the channel, Tax Accountant Nabe solves your money problems. This time, I will talk about tax audits, additional tax per case. Today, I would like to talk about something that may send a chill down your spine. The theme is the hidden traps of tax audits, based on analysis of fiscal year 2024 data. Business owner and accounting staff, if a tax audit actually takes place and undeclared income is pointed out, do you accurately understand how much financial damage your company could suffer? This time, using the latest publicly available data, let's break down that frightening reality. Let's begin right away. Please imagine this for a moment. What would you do if a bill suddenly arrived at your company saying, please pay 6.34 million yen immediately? No joke. That would seriously strain your cash flow, wouldn't it? In fact, this is not a fictional number or an exaggeration at all. It is an extremely realistic amount actually shown in the data. This is the harsh reality of tax audits represented by the latest fiscal year 2024 data. That vague optimism of we are probably fine because we are doing things properly is completely shattered by the data. So, let's dig deeper into what this number actually means. The key point you absolutely need to understand here is the true meaning of this figure, 6.34 million yen. This is not the total amount for the entire country. It is the average amount of additional tax generated by a single tax audit of one company conducted in fiscal year 2024. An average of 6.34 million yen per case. That is extremely heavy. Honestly, the fact that this is the average per case is surprisingly enough. But that is not the only problem. When compared with past data, it has actually increased by 16.4% from the previous year. A 15.4% increase is huge. For a company to keep increasing sales or profits by that much every year would be extremely difficult, wouldn't it? But additional tax amounts are rising rapidly at exactly that pace. You may be wondering why they have increased so much. One reason behind this is the rapid digitalization of the tax authorities. With AI and large volumes of data, it has become possible to conduct highly precise analysis of tax return contents. We are now in an era where even small filing mistakes that may have been overlooked in the past can be reliably detected. Now, let me ask you something. Do you think the story ends here? 6.34 million yen is certainly a major blow. But if you looked at this number and felt relieved, thinking, I see, so if a tax audit happens, I just needed to prepare about this much at most, that is extremely dangerous. In fact, even this already high average figure is only the tip of iceberg. So from here, we reach the real core of today's explanation. Let's uncover the hidden additional cost. At first glance, it may look as though everything is settled by paying this 6.34 million yen. However, when you carefully break down the contents of this number, you will see that a serious pitfall is hidden inside. So, what exactly is hidden here? Let me reveal the answer. In fact, the approximately 6.34 million yen mentioned earlier consists of only two types of tax: corporate tax and consumption tax. Only these two. In other words, this huge additional tax amount is merely the combined total of corporate tax and consumption tax. Here lies the alarming truth that the scope of the calculation is extremely limited. Please pay attention to what is included in the 6.34 million yen and what is not included. Did you notice? Items such as business tax and local tax are not included in this 6.34 million yen data at all, not even by 1 yen. This means that a burden far heavier than the apparent number is waiting behind the scenes. So, what specifically gets added on top? First, there is business tax. Then, there are local tax, such as prefectural resident tax and municipal resident tax. If corporate tax is increased as a result of tax audit, these tax also increase automatically in connection with it. In other words, the moment the additional payment of corporate tax and consumption tax is determined, the matter for these additional taxes also begin spinning rapidly behind the scenes. On top of the additional tax amount, delinquent tax and additional tax for underreporting may also be imposed retroactively. As a result, it is not uncommon for the final total payment amount to far exceed what you imagine. The actual data source also casually includes this frightening sentence: if business tax, prefectural resident tax, municipal resident tax, and other taxes are added to this, the additional tax amount becomes even larger. That is scary, isn't it? The weight of phrase even larger is enormous. Even though we already have the figure of 6.34 million yen, which is a 15.4% increase from the previous year. The fact that this is still not the final bill carries an impact powerful enough to shake the very foundation of a company. Let me ask you again at the end. If someone from the tax office suddenly knocked on your company's door tomorrow, would you be prepared to pay this hidden true cost? Please do not feel safe by looking only at the surface level average data. There are also statistics showing that more than 70% of companies that undergo tax audits are found to have some form of undeclared income. This is absolutely not someone else's problems. Understanding the invisible costs that are linked behind the scenes is the most important lesson I want you to take away from today's explanation. Let's correctly, really what lies behind the numbers and prepare properly. I will see you again in the next explanation. This time I talked about tax audits, additional tax per case. For more information about tax audits, please also visit the page of Yutaka Watanabe, Tax Audits, Tax Accountant Office. I will continue sharing information on the theme of money, so please subscribe to the channel. Tax Accountant Nabe solves your money problems.